Welcome to the section on methods and conditionals. And when I say method, if you've dealt with other programming languages, they might use the word function. So in Ruby, they're most of the time called methods, but you might hear me say function. But they both mean the same thing. They're just a block of code, really, that you put in a function or a method. So I'm going to open up Interactive Ruby. Alright, so the first thing I want to show you is how to actually create a method, and we do that with DEF, which is short for define. So we're defining a method. So I'll just call this my method, and then in Ruby, Interactive Ruby, you want to just click enter. And you probably noticed now the last number here is now a 1, and the reason that it's a 1 is because we're now inside of this my method. Okay, so that's why that changed. We're on a different level now. So I want to type in here what I want this actual method to do, and let's just make it easy and let's just have it print something out. We'll say print just say I am a method named my method, and you can see we're still on the methods level, on the level. To end this, we need to just type in end, and you'll see now we're back to level 0. And if you've used other programming languages in the past, chances are when you define a method or a function, you use curly braces, an opening curly brace and then a closed curly brace. Well, in Ruby, most of the time you're going to use DEF as the opening curly brace and then end as the closing curly brace. Now, we haven't ran the function yet, we've just created it. I'm sorry, the method. And to run it, all we need to do is type it in. So we'll just say my method, and it's going to print out I am a method named my method. And of course we have nil because there's nothing wrong, there's no issues. Now, a method can also have what's called parameters, or sometimes called arguments, and they're just values that you plug in when you're calling the method. So let's define a new method that has parameters. Let's just say DEF. So we're going to define a method called, I guess we'll call it sayIt. Alright. Now, if we want parameters, we need to have some parentheses at the end here, and in here is where we want to put our parameters. Let's just say word. Alright, so it's going to take one parameter, and it's called word. So I'm going to press enter. Now you can see we're on level 1 because we're inside of the method. Now what we want to do here is we want to print out whatever the user types in as the word, as the parameter. So this matches this. Alright, so I'll click enter, and then I'm going to end. So that's all that function is going to do. It's going to just speak out whatever we put in. So let's just say sayIt, and let's say we want to use quotes. We'll say hello, and you can see it. All it did was shoot out what we put in. Now, the way we're doing this here, just creating methods on the fly that don't belong to any class or object or anything like that, it's not really the preferred way. It's not usually what you would do when you're dealing with Ruby. Ruby is heavily object orientated, and what you would usually do is create a class, an object class, and then create your methods inside of there, and then call your methods through that class or through that object. But the reason I'm not doing that right now is I just wanted to show you what a method is at its core, without having to worry about defining a class or dealing with objects and properties. We're going to get into that next, but that's why we're doing it this way. So we know what a method is, we know how to call it. Now, sayIt is only a method because we said it is, we defined it. but Ruby also comes with pre-made methods as well that you can use on pretty much anything, because everything is an object. A string, a number, a method, a class, everything is an object, and you can run methods on objects. So let's just take my name. Now this is known as a string because it's just a string of text and it's enclosed in quotes, but it is also an object. So we can use one of the core, I guess core or stock methods that come with Ruby on this object. And let's use the reverse method. So if you say reverse, sorry I don't know how to spell, it's going to give it to us backwards, so it's darb. The dot is what is telling us that we want to run this method that's following it. And again, that's a string. If we just say Brad without quotes, reverse, it gives us an error because Brad is not a variable. Only variables can be letters without quotes around them. Now, if you wanted to know all of the initial core methods that are available to us, there's actually a method to do that. So if we type in just, we'll say any string, and then we want to do dot methods, that's going to show us all these methods that we could use on a string. So I mean, there's size, match, there's all types of stuff here, and a lot of these I don't even know what they are. But you can look these up at the official Ruby site if you want to learn more about what these do. So if we put a number in, we could do 5 dot methods, and we get a slew of different functions that we can use on an integer or a number. Well, I actually wanted to show you one more thing. Let's do another string dot methods, and if I can find it, maybe 1 second. You can see right here and here, you see my method and say it. These are the two methods that we created. So not only does it give you the stock methods that Ruby comes with, but it gives you any user created methods as well. And if you even want this to be easier to read, this is an array. Okay, it's an array of methods, and arrays have certain methods as well. And they have one called sort, which will actually sort by alphabetical order or however you want to sort it. So let's just say the number 7 dot methods dot sort. So you can pretty much chain methods as well. So you can add 1, 2, 3, however many methods you want, you can run, and you can see it's now sorted. It starts up here with characters, then to the A's, B's, all the way down to the Z. So that's how you can see all the available methods to an object. Now I want to get into some conditionals, some if statements, but first we need to clear the screen because it's really messy. And there's a system method we can use to clear this. We can say system, and then we can pass in a parameter of CLS, and this can clear the screen, but what I want to do is put this into a function, and we can make this even simpler. So let's say we want to define a function called, we'll just say CS. Now what we want to put here is what we want to happen when we call this function. So we're going to put system CLS, enter, and then we want to do end. And you can see now we're back to the 0 level. So now all we have to do is CS, and it clears the entire screen. So conditionals pretty much work the same way as they would in any other language. You can compare things, if something's equal or greater than or not. But as an example, let's just create a variable called name, and we'll set that to the string of John. Alright, so now we have this variable called name that's equal to John. Now let's make an if statement, and we're going to say if name is equal to John, then we want to print my name is John. Well, yeah, we need quotes there, and then let's end, and you can see it prints out my name is John. Now let's say if name is not equal, actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do that first. We'll say if name is not equal to John, then we want to print my name is not John, and then we'll end, and you can see it prints out nothing because it is John, but we're saying if it's not John, then print out my name is not John. Okay, so let's say name equals Jeff. Alright, so now if we do that same, now when you're in the command line, you can tap the up arrow if you want to go back to the lines you've already typed. So let's do the same thing. We'll say if name is not John, then we want to print my name is not John, and then we'll end. And you can see now it printed out my name is not John. Alright, so that's a basic if statement. Now we can also use else. We can do an if-else statement. So right now our name is equal to Jeff. Alright, so let's say if name is equal to John, then we will print I am John. And we don't want to do an end here, we want to do an else. So what we're saying is if it's not equal to John, then let's print I am not John. And then we can do end, and you can see it printed out I am not John. I'm going to clear this out. Now we can do comparisons we can do more than one comparison. We can say if something is this and that, or if something is this or that, and I'll show you that now. So actually, let's create some variables. We'll say we have a car and the make is a Honda, and we'll give it a color of red. Now let's write a conditional. We'll say if the make is equal to Honda, and, which is represented with 2 ampersands, color is equal to red. Alright, so closing parentheses. So we're saying if the make is Honda and the color is red, then we want to print I want this red Honda. And then we can end, and you can see it prints it out because it is in fact a Honda and it's red. So let's change color to blue, and let's do the same thing. We can just hit the up key to go back to the if statement, and we'll say the same thing. If it's a Honda and it's red, we're going to print out I want this red Honda, and then we'll end, and nothing comes out because the color is now blue. Now we can also use in or comparisons. So let's say if make is equal to Honda, or, which is represented with 2 pipes, which is the key right above your enter key, or make is equal to, let's say, Toyota. So then we'll just print out I want a Honda or Toyota, and it prints it out because the make is Honda, but we're not saying if the make is Honda and Toyota, which isn't possible anyway. We're saying or. So that's pretty much the basics of conditionals. You can use if-else, of course, even if you use more than one comparison. But yeah, that's basically it. So let's wrap this up and jump into the next section.